On today's episode of the Duck Zone 503 podcast, we're going to talk about how Oregon added 3 blue chip prospects in just as many days. My name is Dominic Peterson. This is the Duck Zone 503 podcast where we talk all things Oregon football. Whether it's your first time viewing or a long time viewer of the podcast, I kindly ask that you go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. But most importantly, many of you know what I'm about to say. Tell your friends and family about the podcast. It really helps grow this podcast the most. If you got any friends or family that's big time Duck fans, bring them my way to the Duck Zone 503 podcast and let's talk all things Oregon football. All right, let's get into it. And for those who are locked in to the podcast, who are viewing every episode, staying on top of Oregon recruiting with me on what the casuals would call the off season, right? You would have seen these commitments coming in the foreseen future, because in our previous episode, we previewed these prospects and I gave you my thoughts on if they would become Ducks and commit or not. And we were 3 for 3, guys. According to the experts as well, they all thought that these guys were coming, and boy, did they come. And Oregon recruiting is looking like a graph like this on the way up, going up and up and up. Dan Lanning and the Ducks on absolute fire on the recruiting trail right now. The 3 guys that committed are 2024 4-star quarterback Michael Van Buren, 2024 4-star defensive lineman Xavion Sims, and 2024 4-star wide receiver Dylan Gresham. Now, let's start by talking about the first commitment that happened when 2024 4-star quarterback Michael Van Buren chose Oregon over Maryland and Penn State. Van Buren is standing 5'11" and a half, 185 pounds, coming out of the prestigious St. Francis Academy High School out there in Baltimore, Maryland. He's also teammates with 4-star defensive back commit Ife Obadegwu. According to 247 Sports composite rankings, they have Van Buren listed as the number 11th quarterback in the nation and a number 130th player nationally. So top 150 player in the nation, top 12 in his position. And like I said, guys, these rankings are not over yet. Still kind of early in the 2024 cycle. So it's going to be lots of fluctuation until signing day. Now, we got a scouting report here by Andrew Ivins, director of scouting report for 247 Sports here. He says, a battle-tested prep quarterback that has helped guide Baltimore's St. Francis Academy to 2 straight top 10 finishes in the Max Prep Top 25 while playing a national schedule. Explosive lower half allows him to evade pressure and create both inside and outside of the pocket. Can generate plenty of velocity with a smooth stroke and consistently hit his spots with pace, especially when looking to attack the middle depths of the field. Came up big as a junior on the road against DeSoto squad that went on to win a Texas 6A Division II state title, as he completed 13 of 20 passes attempted for 205 yards and 3 touchdowns. Has shown that he can connect to some deep shots, but not exactly a strength of his game, then is prone to take some risk. Should be viewed as a dynamic signal caller that can coordinate RPOs and throw with some confidence on the move. Owns valuable leadership qualities, but must be a better decision maker and field reader if he wants to reach a full potential. Below average measurables won't be for everyone, but has some skills required to win at the Power 5 level. Boom. So thank you for that big time report from Andrew Ivins, director of scouting report for 247sports.com, with giving us that. We also got on Van Buren on why he chose Oregon from an article here from Hayes Fawcett at On3 Sports. Van Buren said, I feel like Coach Lanning is really building something special at Oregon. He's very big on family, and that really stood out to me. I also feel like my play style really fits in the offensive scheme. I have a great relationship with the whole staff. They all hit me up often. The coaches I talk to the most are Lanning and Coach Stein. They make it a priority to always communicate with me and check up with me. Me and Luke Moga already talking. We are cool, Van Buren said. We both are competitors, and we both told each other that when we get there, we're going to work and we're going to make each other better. May the best man win the job. So, Van Buren, Luke Moga, Oregon takes 2 quarterback this class. This is no secret. According to the Baltimore Sun, as a junior, Van Buren completed 112 of 198 passes for about 1,700 yards and 18 touchdowns. He also added 10 carries for 125 yards and 2 scores to go along with that. So overall, After this year, guys, Bo Nix will be gone, and Dan Lanning and the staff will need to find their new QB1 for next year, for 2024. So it's no secret that adding 2 quarterbacks to this class just adds more competition and, importantly, talent to that 2024 quarterback room. We're going to have Ty Thompson. Looks like he's sticking around. Watching Ty Thompson, though, for the last couple of years, personally, I honestly just don't think we're going to see anything more from Ty Thompson. Like, in my own mind, when I watch him, how much more can this guy really develop after the last few years of what we've seen? I think we kind of seen what Ty Thompson is to this point. Not that I'm trying to doubt Ty or say that he can't improve, but I just don't have much optimism for him to be a starting level Power 5 quarterback at this level. If he proves me wrong, by all means, I would love to see it. But me personally, I just haven't seen it. So taking 2 quarterbacks really makes sense here. You had a 4-star with Van Buren. You had a 3-star with Luke Moga. And I wouldn't be surprised if Oregon tried to add a transfer quarterback when it's all said and done as well. Okay. It was a double quack. What was it? Saturday? Yeah, Saturday they committed a double quack Saturday for the Ducks as 2024 4-star defensive line Xadavion Sims committed to the Ducks. He chose Oregon over Oklahoma and Michigan State. Sims is coming out of Durant High School out there in Durant, Oklahoma. According to the 247 Sports Composite rankings, they have Sims listed as the number 24 defensive lineman in the country and number 204th player nationally. So Oregon adds another blue chip prospect to the table. Second of the day on Saturday. Scouting report here by Gabe Brooks, national scouting analyst for 247 Sports, says this about Sims. It says, true hand-on-the-ground D lineman with a stout build. Adequate height verified in the 6'3" range. Similar adequate frame length with space to add more mass. Very young for his grade. Likely a scheme-versatile prospect given physical traits. Flashes punch power at the point of attack, capable of disengaging to make plays on the ball. Has some pursuit juice when closing on a beat. Play strength is obvious. Bull rusher who can collapse the pocket from the interior, but also plays edge snaps and shows similar brute force on the outside. Owns valuable two-way snaps with reps at tight end, flashes impact blocking ability, and fires out of stance, perhaps more consistently on offense. Experience in shot put and discus with respectable early career numbers from freshman and sophomore springs. Needs more technical nuance that includes hand violence, extension, and disengaging consistency, as well as expanding his move set to a pass rusher. Updated verified measurables, testing, and throw data will also help shed more light on long-term upside. Nevertheless, projects as a high major defensive lineman with possible personnel versatility. Could arrive with size and strength to play early if needed. One of the top prospects in the state of Oklahoma's 2024 class. Collection of traits and data points suggests possibility to become an impact college player and NFL draft candidate. So originally, guys, Michigan State really seemed to be the favorite here to land Sims early on in his recruitment, but after Oregon offered in the month of January, the Ducks were able to pick up major steam in his recruitment. The Ducks were able to get him in Eugene for a visit, and then late in his recruitment here, coming up to a decision, defensive lineman coach Tony Toyota made a last-second in-home visit to Durant, Oklahoma to make that last-second pitch to Sims, and it ended up working out, guys. So shout out Coach Toyota to making that trip and sealing the deal. Overall, Dan Lanning and the Ducks continue to build this defensive front, and they're going to add a nice body by adding Sims, standing 6'3", 275 pounds. The athletic Sims has the body type to definitely compete day one in college football. Him being one of the best shot put athletes in the state gives him a mix of athleticism and strength to play on the inside and outside of the line. Being a dual sport athlete always helps with that. Pairing him with the likes of Jackson Jones, Mateo Ugiagale, and Jordan Birch will be definitely dangerous and something to watch up front. And the guys, that 2023 class, the way Dan Lanning added so many prospects to the prep level on that D line, it's just showing you that he's adding up the players he wants for his system up front. And we've seen what he did with the front seven at Georgia and the way he developed those guys. So this is going to be fun to watch, guys. Really fun to watch. Now, Moving on to our third commitment that happened on Monday, May 22nd. 2024 four-star wide receiver Dylan Gresham announced his commitment to the Ducks over Washington and Arizona. Let's go. It's always good to beat the Huskies in a recruiting battle, man. I hate the Huskies. Let me tell you, hashtag Huck the Fuskies. All right, let's get into it. So Dylan Gresham's coming out of San Jacinto High School out there in San Jacinto, California. According to 247 Sports composite rankings, they have Gresham listed as the number 58 wide receiver and number 411th nationally. So it's important to note here as well. In Gresham 2022, he had finished his junior year season with 90 catches, 2,051 yards, and 31 touchdowns, guys. That's in one season. 90 catches, 2,051 yards, and 31 touchdowns. That is insane, guys, when I read that stat. And another note, by adding Gresham to this class, Oregon moved into the top 5 of the 247 spot. I cannot talk today. By adding Dylan Gresham, Oregon moved into the top 5 of the 247 Sports recruiting rankings on Monday. So that was big. San Jacinto head coach Eric Galliano said this about Gresham. He said, he's very, very competitive, not afraid of competition. He's one of the best we've had at our place. I've been here 10 years, and he's one of the best we've had. Pure athlete, hard worker, great in school, all the things you want in an athlete. His speed, he gets to full speed by his second or third step. He's already to his full speed. He's able to get in and out of his breaks and his routes. Good hands, precise route runner, knows how to read zones and find the hole. His best thing is the deep ball. And that was via Steve Wilfong at 247 Sports there that we got that quote from. So thank you for that. Gresham also told 247 Sports during his commitment, they was with me throughout my whole recruiting process. Coach Lanning made a big impact on me both times I came up on visits. It's a place I really see going and winning a national championship. So nice quote there. Again, I always say this when Oregon is able to go out and land big recruits who are being offered, let's say like Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, USC, Texas. These big blue blood schools have many national championships to the name, and I get it. A lot of people like to laugh at the Oregon O and say it stands for zero national championship, but it also can be in your favor. And I'm pretty sure the staff is doing that by offering this. Look, you can come here to Oregon and be sketched in for history for life by coming here and winning the program's first national championship. 128 years, as many good players as we have, many good teams we had here in recent history at Oregon, they've never gotten it done. They've never gotten the big thing done of winning a national championship. So to pitch that here to recruits and to come here and have that in the back of their mind as something special, that's a whole recruiting pitch of its own. And seeing a recruit like Dylan Gresham say it's a place I really see going win a national championship, that's big time. So Gresham is the 14th commitment to Oregon's 2024 recruiting class, joining tight ends AJ Pugliano and Jackson Ford, offensive tackle Fox Crater, receivers Tyseer Denmark and Jordan Anderson. By the way, he's the third receiver to join this class. Edge defender Jackson Jones, safety Aaron Flowers, offensive lineman Trent Ferguson, defensive lineman Tion Gray and Xavier Sims, cornerback Ife Obadegwu, and quarterbacks Luke Moga and Michael Van Buren. Let me remind you guys, this is important to note as well, Oregon has a combined total of 10 4 and 5 stars committed for this class as of now. More than double the rest of the Pac-12, guys. The rest of the Pac-12 only has 4. So overall, the Ducks are loading up at the wide receiver position, adding their third 4-star wide receiver to this class, with leading wide receiver Troy Franklin on his way to the NFL, most likely after this season. The Ducks will need all the pass-catching talent they can get. With Gresham's speed and his top-end speed able to get behind defense, he's definitely going to stand out compared to the wide receivers that are committed to this class. Really fast wide receiver, probably the fastest wide receiver in this class. Pairing him with the likes of Tez Johnson, Gary Bryant Jr., and Trayshawn Holden as well will make for a solid, with a big time, a lot of upside potential in this wide receiver room moving forward. Now, it's not over yet, guys. Keep your eyes peeled. Like I said at the end of the videos, I always like to give you guys some recruits to look out for. Oregon adds 3 blue chip prospects in just as many days, but Dan Lanning and the Ducks are not even close to done. The Ducks are also currently major favorites to land 5-star edge Elijah Rushing, 5-star linebacker Justin Williams, 4-star defensive back Dakota Fields, and 4-star offensive tackle Jaquan McRoy, according to On3 Sports recruiting prediction machine. So be on the lookout for that. Oregon adds big time, 3 big-time recruits in just as many days. Dan Lanning and the Ducks are not even close to done. Once again, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm your host, Dominic Peterson. This is the Ducks Zone 503 podcast where we talk all things Oregon football. If you haven't liked and subscribed already, go ahead and do that. Tell your friends and family about the podcast. I will see you guys in the next podcast. As always, guys, go Ducks.